Welcome back. Raising awareness about a serious and often misunderstood form of abuse, stalking, described as obsessive or harassing behavior causing the victim to fear for their safety or the safety of their loved ones. It is far more common than you may think. And so joining us this morning is Beth Hassett. She's the CEO of the nonprofit Weave. Beth, thanks so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Having me.
Explain for people who have maybe one idea of what stalking is, just how widespread it really is.
I mean, they say that 1 in 3 women will be stalked at some point in their lifetime and 1 in 6 men. So it can affect anybody. Yeah. And it's a pattern of behavior. And I think that's one thing that people don't realize is that it can be all kinds of behaviors. It's not just following you home or lurking outside your house. A lot of it is done through technology, harassing behavior.
We were just talking about that, about how now it's like it can be anywhere, really. Are you seeing one demographic that is targeted more than another, perhaps?
You know, it certainly tends to be younger folks, especially the technology abuse, but it can really be anybody. And it's generally a former or current partner who doesn't like that we're breaking up. But it can get really scary. It can be somebody who just targets a particular person with the intent of sexual assault, for instance. So we tell people, pay attention, trust your instincts.
And what are some specific signs that people should look out for?
You know, any kind of unwanted behavior, gifts, sometimes they'll send a lot of gifts, contacting family members or coworkers, excessive contact that's unwanted, and just that physical, what we really think of stalking is showing up somewhere and, you know, making an appearance that where they're really unwanted.
You know, I think a lot of people sometimes too look at movies, right? And in the movies, there's this maybe misconception that there has to be a certain pattern of behavior over a period of time before, say, you can report it to police. But I really want you to explain for people, what is that threshold? Like, at what point does it become criminal in nature, and when should people be getting law enforcement involved?
Well, there are a couple things in there. First of all, 2 times can be a pattern. I mean, if somebody twice, without having been told, do not contact me, is contacting you, that starts to build a pattern. If somebody's being made afraid, I think that's one of the key things. Like, harassment can just be annoying if somebody's harassing you at work. But if you're feeling afraid that something might happen to you, you should contact the police. You should talk to an agency like Weave who can help you safety plan. And please keep a log. That's one big mistake people make, is especially with technology abuse. You know, you've got texts, you maybe have posts on your social media. Keep those, keep screenshots, and start tracking what's really going on so that law enforcement can do something and take you seriously.
Yeah, and it can always be used as evidence if necessary.
Absolutely.
For sure.
I mean, it's tempting to just get rid of those, get rid of it all, and that's the worst thing somebody can do.
How big of a problem would you say it is in this area?
You know, it's a big problem, especially when it's attached to a domestic violence relationship where somebody has broken up with somebody, cut off contact, and the person continues to try to reach out to them or reach out to their family. I think a lot of people don't realize that. They might kind of go around the victim and try to ingratiate themselves with family or contact friends or neighbors. So it's important to make sure the people around you know what's going on, especially your workplace, because there are specific protections in California in your workplace if you're a victim of stalking.
And I know Weave does offer support, so how can people contact you and your team if they do need help?
They can call our support line, which is on our website at weaveinc.org. We can help do safety planning. We can just help you kind of unpack what's going on, because sometimes it's like, you know, he's sending me flowers, but it's creepy because he used to send me flowers when we were in a domestic violence relationship. You know, so some of those things that are hard to work through on your own.
Sure. We appreciate you being here with us this morning.
Thank you.